It seems like a perfect storm for you because so much great horror usually comes from something in the political climate. Clearly, this has a lot of that, and so much going on with Coney and all that stuff. How did that fit in when you were writing it?
It's interesting. The Green Inferno started around Occupy Wall Street time. It was a combination of several events. One, I was watching the old 70s cannibal films, thinking you could never make that movie today because the jungle's not there anymore. You know, it's gone. It's all disappearing. I thought, okay, that's my end. It's like it's not about getting lost in the jungle. It's like people that go to protect the jungle, to stop, you know, the uncontacted tribes. But at the same time, Occupy Wall Street was happening. And during Occupy Wall Street, there was a relative of mine who was occupying. And I remember he graduated college and was like, oh, is he working? What's he doing? And my mom was like, oh no, he's occupying. And I was like, well, what's he occupying against? I mean, he hasn't really been screwed over by anybody. He like grew up in a nice family and went to college. And like, well, he goes with his friends, they meet girls, you know, that's what they do. And I just thought, okay, all right, great. You know, if there's any cause can start off as a good cause, people care about it. There's something, I'm not criticizing the Occupy movement, but there's a lot of people that are gonna jump on that cause because they wanna look like they care. It's not because they necessarily care. After I finished the script, Coney 2012 happened. And all of a sudden, I looked at my Twitter timeline. Everyone's like, don't you care about child soldiers? What's wrong with you? This Twitter shaming, this kind of self-righteous tone of voice that everybody got, this holier than thou of like, I tweeted this video and you didn't. Are you pro Joseph Coney? And then 3 weeks later, or whatever it was, there's Free Pussy Riot. And people are like, don't you care about freedom of speech? Are you pro Vladimir Putin? You didn't tweet the hashtag Free Pussy Riot. And then 3 weeks later, you know, it's like, bring back our girls. What's wrong with you? And there was actually a great article that said your hashtags aren't helping. Why there's a whole thing about why the bring back our girls hashtag was actually creating more problems. But what I've seen is that most people are jumping on these causes not necessarily because they care, but because they want to look like they care. Yeah. And that's okay. Like, we've all done it. We've all retweeted that stuff and liked stuff. And we're like, oh, it was kind of lame. Hope nobody noticed. But I just see this whole culture of everyone just Twitter shaming and this hashtag shaming that has gotten out of control. Yeah. And then you see it with Gamergate and the social justice warriors, and you just want to throw up. Like, anything you tweet, people are attacking you and going, even talking about Gamergate or SJWs, it's like, we just shut the hell up. Like this self-righteous tone of voice of everybody going, what's wrong with you, what's wrong with you? So I wanted to make a movie about kids that want to go and save the Amazon, not because they want to save the Amazon, but because they want to be recognized for saving the Amazon. Yeah. If you notice in the movie, it's not like they stop the protest and they're like crying and they're a mess, but they're partying when they're trending on Twitter. They're like, CNN retweeted us. We made Reddit. Like, that's the end game, is to make the front page of Reddit. Game over. That's what matters. So I wanted these people to crash in the jungle with the very people they saved. And those people who, there's no technology, they have no access to technology or anything, they've never seen modern man, they just see them as invaders, and they're gonna treat them as such. So I wanted to go to a place that looked and felt dangerous. You know, I feel that so many movies now are either, and look, there are a lot of good ones, but they're set in a house, they're in a safe environment, they're done in a green screen, they're done in a computer, and that's perfectly okay, but I miss the dangerous filmmaking. I miss watching those movies like Apocalypse Now or Apocalypse, and you go, these people, the people who made this movie were legitimately crazy. Like, you'd have to be insane to make a movie like this. There's no visual effects. Like, you're really, even in the plane crash, which has some visual effects or things, we're really, really spinning them 720 degrees. I wanted to have a visceral ride.
And you can tell, as an audience, you can tell when it's a real thing. You can tell when it's not, there's no bullshit involved, and that's definitely a part of this film.
And by the way, the cast was game. Credit to the cast. You know, Lorenzo is, when she's in the river screaming for her life, she's screaming for her life. Aaron Burns, when we did the upside down vomit, he's like, everyone spun upside down. Daryl Sabara, when he's like peeing and there's a tarantula, that's a real poisonous tarantula that's crawling by him. So everybody in the cast fully went for it. And I think that's one of the reasons the movie really works. When you see them and they're in the dirt and they're surrounded by pig shit and they're getting bit by bugs, there's no makeup there. There's no like fake dirt. Like, they were in the ambulance. Like, we had to send cast members to the hospital. We had to get yellow fever shots. We had anti-malaria pills. We had to get deparasited after we were in the fucking Amazon. It was crazy. When the kids drop a snake on Kirby and Magda's face, that is a real snake. I was standing there and the kids turned around, they're like, oh, the kids have an idea. And they had a baby python. And I was like, what do they want? They go, well, the kids thought it'd be funny if we threw it in the cage with you know, the Americans. And I was like, actually, that's a great idea. We're going to do that. And so we did the take, and I look at the TV freeze frame, the thing's like 2 inches from biting her face. So it was just that kind of a shoot. But you know what? It all works in the movie.